The Seattle Mariners just capped off a mop of the Los Angeles Angels to go 7-0 on this homestand. Joe and I are going to talk about what happened in this series, and then we're just going to talk about overall this 9-game winning streak that the Mariners are currently on, what happened, and how they were able to get to this point. We're going to give you guys our FanDuel favorites, and then we're going to take a look around the league, because this is probably the most important week of the entire season for the Mariners, the Astros, the Rangers. This week probably decides it all. So we have a lot to talk about in this one. But thank you guys so much for watching episode 226 of the Hit It Here podcast, part of the Bleav Network and presented by FanDuel. And this is the Etsy Cheeto Mustache episode of the podcast. The Mariners, there's something in the air. I'm not superstitious.
No.
But I'm a little stitious, you know? And man, there's a lot going on with this team right now, Joe.
It's hard to understate how important Is that the right understate over? Doesn't matter. 7-0 homestand, insane. Absolutely insane. When I did the rest of the season breakdown, I had the road trip 5-4 and this homestand 5-2. They got to 10 wins. They got to 10-6. It's just not the way that you wanted. Or not the way that I had imagined, but maybe in the exact way that you wanted, because the vibes have not been this high since, I don't know when, for this season specifically, maybe the 9-1 homestand. And it always ends on a homestand, right? And that's just the way it is, because for whatever reason, this team is just unconscious at home. And we got a very... speaking of unconscious, maybe they suffer from a little bit of a sleep deprivation. Wednesday game, long 13-inning game. First game of this Angel series Thursday, a 12-inning game. Which the tensions were high. You figured the Angels coming to town, you should be able to win some of these games, if not most of them. And it turns out they won all of them. And it started with game 1, a 7-6 victory in the 12th, a back and forth battle in extras. Both teams scored in the 11th. The Angels scored in the top of the 12th. You needed 2 in the bottom of the 12th, and Harry Ford delivered a sacrifice fly for the game winner there. And this was a game that was all over the place. But again, the Mariners bullpen comes in clutch. No earned runs to their tally. All the Manfred man for the bullpen that came across. Bryce Miller, I think the 4 earned runs overshadows what the rest of the start looked like. I think the majority of it was really, really good. 5 2/3, 11 Ks, very good from Bryce Miller in this one. And that's going to be another thing that continued throughout this Angels series, is the starting pitching just absolutely bending over the Angels. But Bizzardo, clean, what? Did they not? Bizzardo, clean, Brash, clean, Vargas, clean, Munoz, clean, very good. Bullpen, the bullpen boys have been up. But this game, Colton, took years off of my life, similar to the Wednesday game that we were in attendance for. I would have never imagined that those back-to-back games taking place in the way that they went down.
Yeah, it was, we talked about how stressful Wednesday's game was, and this one just as stressful, just with a lot more runs scored in this one. Like you said, a 7-6 victory. And the bullpen, they went on a crazy run in during this homestand. This game itself, the ending was insane because you had to burn the DH at one point, so Jose Castillo was gonna hit. You have you had Victor Robles come in to pinch hit / bunt.
Yep.
Instead of, letting him pinch hit for Jose Castillo, so that you have, and you're relying on Harry Ford. Bases loaded, no outs. You're relying on him being able to hit the ball in the air, and that's exactly what he did. And Jorge Polanco, I Bleav it was Polanco, was safe at home.
Yep.
And just what a cool moment for Harry. Still looking for that first big league hit, but he has come through big for this team already, which is super cool to see. Game 2, not nearly as fun, but it was I'm okay with that. I wanted just a normal win, just a normal baseball win. And this one, a 2-1 victory for the Mariners. Also, need to point out that that Mike Trout hit his 399th home run, but did not hit number 400 versus the Mariners. Get owned. This game, the 2 runs come from Jorge Polanco, and then a home run from Mitch Garver. That one coming in the 7th inning, which gave the Mariners a 2-1 lead in this one. You had Luis Castillo on the mound, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Luis was great. That's that. If he can give you a start like that more often than not, you're in a really good spot. But the bullpen, 1 hit. Carlos Vargas struck out the side, gave up a hit. Gabe Spire, 1 inning pitch with a strikeout, and Andres Munoz coming in for the save, 2 strikeouts over an inning pitch. Just it's hard to understate how important the bullpen was over this entire 9-game winning streak.
I was surprised, and maybe I'm not surprised, but part of me wanted Mitch Garver to be Smooch's bro player of the game, and I get why I went to Castillo in this one. I felt it in my bones that I was like, there's no way Colton would ever make Mitch Garver Smooch's bro player of the game, but a home run from Garver in the bottom of the 7th after the Angels tied it in the top half, like that is a huge home run from Garver. And, I mean, he pimped it too. Like he got all of it. The bat flip was sick. You mentioned a normal game. Whoa.
It was a spin.
Yeah, that's
I'm not saying it was bad. It was bat spin.
Flip. Okay.
A flip's got to like go up.
Is Jose Bautista's a flip or is it a bat throw?
Is it a throw?
Is it Rhys Hoskins' bat flip or is it his spike? This is the hot dog and sandwich conversation that we're having right now. Okay. This is exactly what they're all flips. Some of them are spikes. Some of them are throws. Some of them are spins. Josh Naylor flipped it up and slapped it back down with his own hand again. That was a flip, but he happened to just slap it down as well. Doesn't matter.
That was a flip with a combo. Okay.
Just button matching in the box.
Yeah.
You said a normal Mariners victory, 2-1, a 1-run victory. Yes, like that's about as standard as they come, especially at home. 30-21 the Mariners are in 1-run games this year. Lead all of baseball in 1-run victories with 30. I think they're the only team. I mean, they're the only team with 30, so therefore them leading the lead, like that's how that works. They're not tied. Is what I'm trying to get at. Anyways, moving on. Moving on to the second game.
How about the third game we move on to?
I've misspoke. No one knows that reference.
No, they don't.
I was very pleasantly surprised. I was in attendance for this game. I was convinced when we did the preview that Mitch Ferris was going to carve. The low 90s fastball with the slider combo felt like the Mariners' kryptonite, but 4 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned, all the earned for the Mariners coming against Mitch Ferris in this one. He did strike out 7, but I mean, 5 earned. Shout out to the Mariners offense for coming through. JP, I was away getting Dippin' Dots when JP hit the home run. So then I said, I'll leave. I'll never come back. Which did not actually end up staying true. But JP, a big home run. It felt like a could be like not like a slump buster, but if he gets like the power stroke back for the last 12 games here, that could be big for him. But Julio had a good game. Cal obviously had a hit. I mean, he was on base just the entire game. It felt like he got hit by a pitch at the beginning of the game. Polo, 2 RBI double. Josh Naylor, 2 RBI single through. I think what's his name? Logan Davidson, who's been playing first base for the Angels. Like, I don't know. He just missed his glove on it. And I was elated watching Brian Wu shove. I don't know. I feel like I've seen Brian Wu pitch in person, but nothing stands out. But 13 K setting his career high, finally eclipsing the double-digit amount. Felt really good to see Brian Wu on the bump. And bullpen did well again. Luke Jackson, clean inning. Caleb Ferguson, clean inning. Brash, not a clean inning, but he does work his way through it and does get the save for another victory for the Mariners, setting up the potential to mop in the finale on Sunday.
Game 3 was one that I admittedly didn't get to watch a whole lot of, but it was super cool to see Josh Naylor coming through with the bases loaded. It was cool to see Jorge Polanco continue his double streak. I think he's now tied for the most games ever by a Mariner in a row with doubles or something like that, like hitting a double in like 9 games in a row or something like that. Anyway, Jorge Polanco has been incredible for this team over the past couple of weeks. And that's huge for a team that was, They have the pieces, but if you can get the guys like Jorge Polanco to just hit how they have their entire career, you're probably in a good spot. You mentioned that was the game that you thought Ferris was going to kind of tear up the Mariners. In game 4, Kyle Hendricks, you know that you need to be able to score some runs off of Kyle Hendricks. And boy, howdy, did the Mariners do that with 2 in the first, 3 in the third, and 6 in the fourth inning. The Mariners popped off in this one. Cal Raleigh hit number 54, tying Mickey Mantle for the most home runs in the history of the game in a single season by a switch hitter. It just awesome. Just super fun to see. And he did it in the first inning too. Got a really cool curtain call. Cal ended up going 2 for 4 in this one with 3 runs, 2 RBI, and a home run. Julio had a big day as well. 2 hits, 2 RBI, 2 runs. Josh Naylor had 3 RBI in this one, 2 for 4. Jorge Polanco, 3 for 5 in this one, another double. I think
3
he had
of them.
2.
3
Oh,
doubles.
they were 3 doubles?
All doubles, bro. All doubles.
Dom Canzone, 3 for 5, 3 RBI, like an 11-2 victory for the Mariners. And it was on with the help of George Kirby going 6 and a third, giving up 3 hits, 2 earned, and striking out 14 Angels again. Which is what he did the last time he faced the Angels. And then the bullpen continued to be good in this one.
So he got to 13 strikeouts through 6. And I was convinced. So Hancock had been warming up. They were talking about it. Like, this is, George's day is probably done. He's at like 95 pitches or whatever. I was convinced in my heart of hearts. I was like, Dan, just let him go back out there. I knew in the dugout, George was probably barking, fighting, tooth and nail to be able to go back out there and try and get one more to pass Woo from the night before. Like, it had to have been some sort of, not like ego, but, like a fun game. Like, hey, how many Angels did you strike out this series, guys? And then George gets to strut around knowing that he struck out 14 and we only got to 13. He got the first one, and I was like the first out of the top of the 7th. I was like, let him go for 15. Just let him try. He's at 100, whatever. Sure, he's already at 100 pitches, but like, why not let him try and set his career high? But regardless, a phenomenal start from George. Phenomenal starts all around from the starting pitching. A very fun game that everything aligned for you on Sunday with the way that the rest of the league ended up, which we'll talk to in the last segment of the podcast. But this caps off a 9-game win streak, which is still continuing. It's the 9-0 in the Etsy Witch era, if you will, or the mustache era, or the Rick Riz Cheeto era. You can find yourself in different pockets of Mariners history right now, depending on what, I guess, superstition you subscribe to, if you will. But this team has been unstoppable for clearly the last 9 games. And it's weird because the road trip leading up to this 9-game road streak, like 9-game win streak, was awful. I mean, you lose the series to the Guardians, you get swept by Tampa Bay, and you lose the first game, against Chris Sale in Atlanta. So you're like, okay, where is this team heading? What is the direction that they're going to head in? And then you score 28 runs across 2 games to finish off the series in Atlanta. You're like, okay, here they are. This is the team that we all know that they can be, and they proved it at home against, teams that they should beat. But there have been plenty of times this season, in previous seasons, where Mariners were at home, playing teams that they should beat, and losing. They did not roll over and die. They figured something out and kicked it into high gear. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of outscoring the opponents on the homestand necessarily, except for the final game where they outscored the team by 9. But you got wins done regardless of 2 or less. The entire, all the Cardinals games were 2-run wins. The first 2 Angels games were 1-run wins, and then the second one was a 2-run win. But regardless, you got those done, and you had the winning formula, which was the offense provides what you need it to, and the pitching does not surrender. Essentially, they do not give up, and I cannot 66-23 is the run differential between the Mariners and their opponents over these 9 wins. Yes, buoyed, incredibly so, by a 10-2 victory, an 18-2 victory, and an 11-2 victory. But you don't get those wins, and you don't stack up wins to get, all in a row without the 1 or 2 run victories that this team is so incredibly good at and incredibly built for as well.
This is, I think, the culmination of what we've been waiting for all year. The offense has been pretty decent all season long, but the pitching staff really wasn't there on both the starting side and the relief pitching side of things. And we have had our reservations about Bryce Miller, basically the entire year. George has been incredibly hit or miss. Luis on the road has been, not good. The fact that as of right now, and again, maybe the Mariners are T-Mobile Park merchants. We're gonna find out. I mean, we've already found out, but we're gonna find out on this upcoming road trip. But then you have the bullpen, 34 and like a third innings scoreless in a row is incredible from that bullpen. And it hasn't just been, one guy eating a bunch of innings. It has been every single person in that bullpen contributing one right after the other, whether it be Edward Bizardo, Matt Brash, or even Caleb Ferguson. You know what I mean? They're all performing to like their S tier of the ability, of the ability of this team. And I think that why you look like that.
Keep going.
Oh, okay. And I think that when you are looking at a team like this going into the most important week of the entire season, you have to feel really good about where the Mariners are at.
Over the last 9 games, and this is going to be inflated because of the extra inning games that this team has played, but over the last 9 games, no team's bullpen has thrown more innings than the Seattle Mariners at 35 and a third. And I honestly think I don't think Fangraphs has today's game updated in there yet, which is unfortunate because what I'm trying to the stats that's all, folks. That was crazy. Hello, Porky the Pig. Like, we're not going to get the 4 strikeouts from Hancock and Legumina in the 7, 8, 9 innings from this game today, but 35 and a third, so I guess 38 and a third is how that math works. I'm a genius. Obviously, 0.25 earned run average. It's going to be lower than that. They've only allowed 1 earned run. I know.
7 and a third.
What did I say? 38 and a third?
You said 38.
Yeah,
you said they were at 30.
They're 35.1 innings pitched.
Right.
Plus 3.
Hancock, no, because George got the first out in the 7th.
Yeah, 1 2/3, and then Legumina win an inning.
Oh,
sorry. Sorry, it's actually just 38 flat because they didn't cover 3 innings. It was 2 2/3. Regardless, doesn't matter. 37 or 41 strikeouts to either 5 or 6 walks. Like, the strikeout to walk ratio from the bullpen has been insane. Wow. That's insane. Yeah, the Manfred man, the amount of runs that they've let in because the inherited run or whatever, you can look at that and like, oh, they're not as good. But among the other teams where bullpens are having to throw, we'll just go through. I mean, they're bad bullpens, so take that with a grain of salt. But 34 and 2/3 innings covered by the Angels, 21 earned runs. Mariners have 1. Okay. 33 innings covered by the Tigers, 18 earned runs. 33 innings covered by the Marlins, 13 earned runs. 32 and 2/3 covered by the Rockies, 21 earned runs. Like, the next best bullpen is Toronto with a 1.59 ERA over only 22 and 2/3 innings. They've given up 4 earned runs. The smooches, bro, for the entire win streak is the Mariners bullpen. With for quite a considerable margin, because we've seen this team throw away some games over this season and years prior. This is the best the bullpen's looked since 2022.
Yeah,
like, full stop.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I don't think there's a single person on this planet that thinks the Mariners shouldn't have added at least one more bullpen arm. Everybody thinks that. But as of right now, you get all these guys cooking at the same time, and good things are going to happen. And you get the offense cooking like it has been. Good things are going to happen. You're getting second half Julio. It's a foregone conclusion at this point. That is what's going to happen. Leo Rivas has been instrumental for this team recently. Dom Canzone, comes up big in the final game of this series.
Yeah.
I will say we do have to, we got to talk about the bad with the good. Gino, man.
Yeah, rough.
0 for his last 27.
He had a couple
Um,
moments where a foul ball by like a couple feet, just if he had just been a half second later, it's parked into Edgar's Cantina. But yeah, he is going through a pretty rough stretch. But that is, I think, a testament to how deep this team is and like where they currently sit is they haven't necessarily needed his production. So you get Gino on the road again. Maybe there's something there where he's hitting better on the road, and I think he has since being acquired by the Mariners. And it's hard not to when you take into consideration the offer. I mean, I imagine that's over this homestand. That's like
the 0
rough.
for homestand.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, you said 0 for 27, 7
Yeah.
games. He's probably getting 4-ish at bats a game. It's right there.
Yeah.
The math's there.
Right there.
But
Maybe he got a base hit in his first at bat. Then.
something. So maybe Gino's cooking on the road, which sometimes certain guys we've seen specifically. It's mainly the 2 trade deadline guys. Naylor better at home than on the road, and Gino better on the road than at home. And when they do hit the road, maybe Gino steps up and is a contributor to the offense when maybe another guy has a rough game or has a rough stretch.
I will say, and there's been a lot of discourse about this during the streams and whatnot, is, people saying the Mariners, why did you get Gino? Like, what was the point? Like, I still think getting Gino was the right move.
Yeah.
Like, you could have gone with Ben Williamson, whatever. Like, getting Gino was the right move because, yeah, he has not been offensively what you need him to be with the Mariners. Just plain and simple, he hasn't been. But the boost that had to have given those guys when they heard that the team's going for it. They'd already got Josh Naylor. They got the 2 best bats that were traded at this deadline in Naylor and in Gino. That's huge for the morale of a team that has had questions in the past about whether or not the front office was willing to make the moves necessary to make this team better. And Gino, he's a clubhouse leader. He's a leader on the field. Maybe he's not going to be, the offensive powerhouse that we know that he can be, but if he can, be that vocal leader for the team, always bringing the good vibes, there's that means a lot to a team that has this kind of momentum right now. So I still think that Gino was the right move. Tyler Locklear's out for the year. I mean, he got injured. So I don't know. I think that even though he has not performed, I'm going to be sad to see Gino go again this offseason.
Yeah, I think it's probably assumed that he will not be re-signed just given the team needs and where those currently stand, just based around, I mean, the trade rumors article and then Dipoto talking, like in that article, Dipoto saying like they are interested in bringing back Naylor, talking about that as far as re-signing him or extending him. Haven't had that conversation about Gino, or that's been talked about publicly, but third base is not as big of a black hole for you if you don't bring Gino back. But if you don't bring Naylor back, I mean, sure, roll out Rayleigh again. Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible. But the Gino stuff, regardless of his struggles, I mean, he's still hit 9 home runs in a Mariners uniform. I'll take that. Those have been probably some pretty key home runs at some point. I can think of a couple where they're game changing. It's a 85 OPS plus, and I doubt that's updated for today after his offer. So like, keep that in mind. It's probably going to go down, but I'm still very okay. Like you said, the clubhouse shift, the leadership is integral to the part of the reason why you brought him in.
This team right now with all the guys are having fun. This team looks like the kind of team that could compete for a World Series. Like, honestly, this is the kind of team when you think about someone who could go all the way. This is what that team looks like. They are now in sole possession of first place over the Houston Astros. This is the latest the Mariners have been in sole possession of first place in a season since 2001. They've never had first place this late in the season. And that is reflected in our FanDuel favorites today as the Mariners are at -210 to win the division at this point. with the Astros coming in at plus 175, and then the Rangers at plus 1700, which is still surprising to me. They're so far back, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that this is really a testament to where the Mariners are at right now. A 9-game winning streak, obviously, and it's still going, is nothing to scoff at. And this is something I've been talking about for a while. This team can rattle off 6, 7, like 8 wins in a row. You know, like they absolutely can.
Oh yeah.
And lo and behold, they're finally, it took longer than I thought it would, but they're finally doing it. This team is a complete baseball team. And that is shown in our FanDuel favorites.
If you got the Mariners at plus money when we were talking about earlier, you're probably sitting pretty with the amount of return on your bet there. Minus 210 with the Astros at plus 175. You're only a game ahead of them. And the final series of the year between them, which is this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Houston, I think it probably decides the division. It might not, because I think the Mariners have a pretty favorable schedule in that regard, as far as it might not matter. But if you lose that series, obviously you lose the tiebreaker at the end of the year, where that then means you cannot finish tied. You have to be at least a game ahead of them in the win-loss column by season's end if you want to take the division. But you mentioned the World Series. I mean, the Mariners are at plus 1,000. I think they're back to where they were. I think that's the highest it was after that homestand, 9-1. They're probably at plus 1,000 around that time as well. We've seen it dip to plus 1,600 when they're struggling on the road. What version of the Seattle Mariners will be in the postseason? At this current rate, it's a team that's going to be able to play more games at home than not, at least in the first round. And if they do play in a wild card round. And that should, given their 7-game homestand, their win percentages keeps going up after it was already at 600. That feels pretty good as far as where the Mariners are standing, as far as World Series winners, even league winners. Like, the Mariners are at plus 450 in the American League to be the representative out of the American League. It's weird because they're tied with the Tigers as far as World Series odds are concerned, but then the Tigers are at plus 360, and it's likely just because the Mariners have to play an extra round, or at least they do right now. Could they chase down the Tigers at this point? Maybe. I don't know if they can chase down the one spot, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that the Mariners could even just get a bye straight into the division series here, as they sit 3 back of the Tigers with 12 to play.
12 to play. Listen, I don't want to guarantee a playoff spot because you can't, right? You can't guarantee a playoff spot, especially with just how tight things are right now. As of right now, the Mariners hold the 2nd wild card spot. The Red Sox are narrowly holding on to the 3rd.
No.
Right?
No, the Mariners are in the Mariners are leading the West.
You're right. That's right. Yeah, they have the division.
We're not in the wild card, baby. We don't talk about that anymore.
But at the same time, like you mentioned, they're 3 games behind the Tigers. The Tigers have a couple of series left versus the Guardians, which are going to be pretty pivotal series because the Guardians are 9-1 in their last 10, just like the Mariners. Mm-hmm. They're a team that is at 78 and 71. And they're 2.5 games behind the Houston Astros for the wild card right now. That series, I hate to say it, but I'm rooting for the Guardians against the Tigers because more than anything, I want the Mariners to not have to play a wild card and just be injected right into a division series. If you're able to catch the Tigers, you do own the tiebreaker versus them because you swept them in Detroit and you won one off of Tarek Skubal back in Seattle. That means that if you're tied at the end of the season, you get to sit at home for a little while the Tigers have to go play a wild card series. And the same thing can be said about a series that's about to start on either Monday or Tuesday. The Rangers versus the Astros. Mm-hmm. The Rangers are currently 2 games back of the Astros for the 3rd wild card spot. Do I want the Rangers to beat up on the Astros? I do. I think I do. Because if the Mariners have to play I would rather the Mariners play the Rangers in the playoffs than the Astros. The Mariners have owned the Rangers all year long. They're 10-3
Mm-hmm.
against the Rangers this year. You own the tiebreaker versus them. If the Rangers could win that series versus the Astros, they are tied for that wild card spot in that scenario. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly.
I
You're
don't
right.
think
They wouldn't be.
they wouldn't be tied, but the Rangers would have the season series,
I
right?
believe.
Because they're
Yeah.
6-4 heading into it right now. And so the Astros have to sweep to own the tiebreaker over the Rangers.
Mhm.
Had the Mariners not gone 7-0 on this homestand, be winners of 9 in a row, I was very hesitant about my opinion of the Astros Rangers series because I was like, no, don't risk it. Let the Astros sweep the Rangers, kick them out of contention, whatever. Now that we're atop of the West, a game, this late in the season, the vibe's never been higher. Winners of 9 in a row. Yes, the road warts may come about over the next 6 games starting on Tuesday. But if the Rangers kick the Astros down a little bit, it doesn't have to be a sweep. If they win that series, sure, the Astros still have a game lead over the Rangers at that point. They're in the wild card. But if the Astros are down on their luck, like, oh, what happened to our lead? What happened to our season? When the Mariners get there on Friday, yeah, that is the time where they can step on the neck.
Mhm.
And they can go full bore with the Mariners' best 3 starting pitchers against the Astros' best 3 starting pitchers. And that will feel like a playoff series a week and a half, 2 weeks before the playoffs even started. And everyone knows that. The schedule makers knew that when they, like, you guys know it would be really funny. What if before they play the Rockies at home for their second to last series of the year, the Mariners went to Houston? Wouldn't that be so funny, guys? Because it's gonna be intense. Especially with the Astros reslotting to have a more favorable, stronger pitching matchup against the Mariners. If the Rangers take that series, I feel all that much better about where the Astros mental might be heading into that last little bit. And yes, that is an organization that knows how to win. The West has ran through Houston for a long time. Now is the best chance it feels like, especially with how late in the season it is, for the Mariners to flip the script, switch up the narrative, go hang a new banner, a one that I've never seen be put up in my lifetime. 2025 American League West, whatever. You know what I mean?
They won the division in 2001, but
brother, did I see it? Did I see it get put up?
But it was in your lifetime.
That's what I mean. Do you remember it?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. So why are you trying to argue with this with me right now?
I'm simply saying that it has happened
in my cognitive lifetime. How about that? Is that do we need to
you're cognitive?
Apparently.
You talked about the rotation for the Astros and the Rangers. Game 1, Jason Alexander going for the Astros versus Jack Leiter. Whatever. Game 2, Christian Javier versus Merrill Kelly. And then game 3, Colton, sick name, Gordon versus Jacob deGrom. And deGrom's been fantastic. The Astros do get an off day.
Yep.
Before they face the Mariners, whereas the Mariners don't. They have an off day on Monday, and then they have to play the Royals and then the Mariners. So I don't know. I think that if the Mariner freaking fly, you see that? Got him. If the Rangers could beat up on the Astros, and then the Mariners can beat up on the Astros, there's a real possibility.
Yep.
Or the Houston Astros don't make the playoffs. What? That doesn't make sense.
That's the whole point. That's the bit. It's a joke.
It doesn't make sense.
Not cognitive.
But there's a real chance the Astros miss the playoffs. There's also just as real of a chance right now that the Mariners, Rangers, and Astros all make the playoffs. Like that can certainly happen. And if the Mariners can find a way to track down the Tigers, you would then be playing whoever wins between the 3 seed and the 6 seed, which would probably, that 6 seed is probably going to be one of either the Rangers or the Astros, or I guess at this point maybe the Red Sox. But
yeah,
it's This is such an insane end to the season, and it scares the crap out of me, man. Like, how many times have we danced this dance where things are going wild? Now, keep in mind though, a lot of times for the Mariners, they need other teams to do some of the heavy lifting for them. They don't need that right now. If the Mariners keep winning, it'll take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
If the Mariners keep winning, because again, the Tigers have like seven of their last 12 games, I think, are versus the Guardians. The Astros, they're playing the Rangers, then they're playing the Mariners.
They have the
And
American League West tour to finish the year.
Exactly. And I Bleav one of these teams finishes versus the Red Sox as well, which is important.
Boston has 3 against Detroit still. And
yeah,
3
yeah,
against Toronto as well, but
yeah, so Boston finishes the season against Detroit. The 3 games before that, like you mentioned, are against the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
The 2 best teams currently in the American League. Ooh, sorry, Boston. I think you might be out of it. Yeah, it's just such an insane way for this season to end. Look, the Mariners are 82 and 68. If they go 500 the rest of the way, you know what that is? That'd be 54% of your games. 54%. And I am willing to make the claim that 88 wins gets you into the playoffs this year. I don't know if it wins the division.
Yeah.
I think, like, I still think that the goal should be 90, but I do think that 88 wins guarantees you a playoff spot in 2025.
The FanGraphs projected standings the rest of the way have the Mariners at 88.8. So 89 wins the rest of the way, have them going 7-5 over their last 12, which is fully within reason. Has the Astros going 87 and 75 or 88 and 74? It's a coin flip. It's at exactly 87.5. And then the Rangers at 85 wins, pretty much flat. So if you want to get into the postseason, it's going to be 85 to 86 wins for that final wild card spot, more than likely. And the Rangers have a 33% chance to make the postseason right now. And of the teams that are on the outside looking in, they are like, they're the lowest, with the Guardians at 12.5. But like, they're a game, just a half game behind the Rangers. But if it's those 6 games against the Tigers the rest of the way that pushes them down, that's probably why that percentage is so much lower. But I mean, the Mariners, dude, you said you don't want to get, like, there's nothing guaranteed yet. We're not counting chickens. 67.2% chance to win the division. 96.6% to make the playoffs. After the torture that 2023 and 2024 were as far as standings watching and postseason dreams, this one feels about as real as it can get with the remaining schedule, with the Royals falling out of it really quickly. 4-6 their last 10. They're 500. You have a 7-game lead on them. And then you have the Astros. Yes, that's going to be a tough series. But then you get 3 gifts against the Rockies. Sure, the Dodgers are a tough series to finish it out with, but 7-5 is not unrealistic by any means over these last 12 games. And that would get you to 89 wins.
The Royals are a team, and again, we know how bad Kauffman can be. They're a team that's really fallen off recently. I mean, they're 4-6 in their last 10. They've fallen basically what?
I just said that shit.
I'm just talking about it, man.
It's just funny.
You're making this real difficult, all right?
It's just funny.
Like, they're a team that you probably don't really have to worry about. That doesn't mean you can take them lightly.
Yeah.
Right? But that's a team that, that series is not as important as it once looked like it was going to be. Yeah, it's time to get greedy, man. I mean, catch the Tigers, get that first round bye. It's all right there in front of the Mariners right now, and they have the luxury of all the teams around them basically playing each other. And the Mariners have to play the one team that really poses the biggest threat, and then the Houston Astros. So it's going to be stressful. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy the off day on Monday and just kind of chillax. You know what I mean? Not have to care. But it's going to be fun. We appreciate you guys watching episode 226 of the Hit It Here podcast, presented by FanDuel. and go Mariners.